You're standing in front of a truck so massive, your entire house could fit inside its cargo bed. The tires, taller than a giraffe. And when the engine roars to life, it doesn't just make noise, it shakes your whole chest. This isn't just a truck, it's a moving mountain. In today's video, you're about to meet the biggest trucks in the world machines, so gigantic, so outrageous that you simply won't believe your eyes. And let me give you a fair warning, once you've seen these giants, that delivery truck blocking your driveway will feel like nothing more than a toy car. The king of all trucks. The crown belongs to the BelAZ 75710. Built in Belarus, it's the undisputed heavyweight champion of mining trucks. This beast is 20.6 meters long, nearly 10 meters wide, and over 8 meters tall. That means if you parked it next to a 2-story house, the truck would look like the house's big brother. And the weight, empty, it tips the scales at 360 tons. Fully loaded, it can carry a 450-ton payload. That's the same as hauling more than 7 fully loaded Airbus A320 passenger planes just rolling casually through a mine. Powering this colossus are two 16-cylinder diesel engines, each bigger than most cars. Together, they pump out 4,600 horsepower. To give you a sense of scale, that's about 50 Ferraris combined. Except this truck doesn't hit the racetrack. It crawls through open-pit mines, moving mountains of iron ore, coal, or rocks like it's shoveling snow. Now imagine trying to park this thing. Forget parallel parking. The BelAZ doesn't park, it claims territory. If one of these got stuck, it would take another BelAZ to pull it out. That's what you call truck stuck level impossible. The road monster. But what if you need to drive on actual roads, not just mine pits? That's where the Nicholas Tractomaz TR1010D100 comes in. Built in France, this giant holds the Guinness World Record as the largest road-going truck ever made. This thing weighs 71 tons all by itself before you even attach a trailer. Designed to haul modules and equipment too big for ordinary transport, the Tractomaz has hauled loads that topped 1,000 tons. That's right, 1,000 tons rolling down a public road. If you ever saw it coming up behind you in your rearview mirror, you'd change lanes instantly. You wouldn't even believe your eyes. The driver probably has to whisper a prayer every time he turns a corner because large truck precise parking isn't a skill, it's a miracle. And the funniest part? It still has headlights and blinkers like a normal truck. Can you imagine this behemoth politely signaling before changing lanes? That's comedy gold. People joke that if you tailgate this monster, you're basically camping under a moving skyscraper. Others say it doesn't just drive, it intimidates entire highways into submission. The vintage giant. Long before the BelAZ or the Tractomaz, there was the Berliet T100. Back in 1957, it was the biggest truck the world had ever seen. Built in France for Sahara oil fields, it looked like something out of a sci-fi comic. The Berliet T100 weighed more than 100 tons gross, ran on a 29.6-liter V12 Cummins engine, and was so huge it didn't fit into the Paris Motor Show building. They had to build a special pavilion just to display it. Imagine showing up to a car show and the car is too big for the haul. That's not a truck, that's an uninvited guest. In its day, the T100 was a legend, and it still reminds us that big is always relative. In the 1950s, it was the biggest truck in the world. Today, it looks like the BelAZ's little cousin, but storytelling gold lives in those details. The fact that even Paris couldn't contain it makes the story unforgettable. If the BelAZ is the king of mines, then the Berliet T100 was the grandfather who showed everyone what was possible. People didn't just see a truck back then, they saw the future rumbling down the street. The endless train. If the BelAZ is about height and the Tractoma is about weight, then Australia takes the prize for length. Out in the wide open spaces of the Outback, they run road trains, and when Aussies say train, they mean it. In 2004, driver Doug Gould set a world record by pulling 113 trailers linked together. The total length? 1,474.3 meters. That's almost 1.5 kilometers of truck. Or, to put it in fun terms, about 15 football fields lined up bumper to bumper. The whole setup weighed nearly 1,300 tons. Watching it move through town must have looked like a steel snake slithering endlessly. Kids probably asked their parents, when does it end? And the answer was, not in this postcode, son. It was so ridiculous that people compared it to a moving bridge. And honestly, if you were stuck at a crossing waiting for this truck to pass, you'd have time to order lunch, eat it, and still catch the last trailers rolling by. Some people joked you could run a marathon next to it and still not see the finish line. Others said it wasn't a truck, it was Australia's new national landmark. And really, only in Australia would someone think, yeah mate, let's hook up 100 trailers and see what happens. Making the unbelievable believable. Now here's the thing, facts alone don't stick. Numbers vanish from memory, but stories stay. That's why when we talk about the world's largest truck, we don't just say 450 tons. We say 14 elephants in one load. We don't just say 1.4 kilometers long. We say 15 football fields bumper to bumper. That's how you make your audience laugh, gasp, and remember. You turn data into feelings. Humor is your secret weapon here. Trucks this big already sound absurd, so exaggerating a little makes it even more fun. Call the BelAZ a skyscraper on wheels. Call the Tractoma a truck that needs its own postal code. Say the Berliet T100 was the only guest too large for the party. When people laugh, they connect, and when they connect, they remember. Add a sprinkle of shock, and your story becomes unforgettable. Paint the picture so clearly that people feel like they were standing right there, staring up at these giants. And once they can see it in their minds, they'll retell it like they lived it themselves. Lessons from giants. Every one of these trucks carries a lesson beyond steel and horsepower. The BelAZ shows us the future modern engineering at its craziest. The Tractoma shows us that records don't need to die. Even in 2025, it's still unbeaten. The Berliet T100 teaches us that history matters, because even if technology moves on, the stories remain. And the road train reminds us that sometimes going to extremes isn't just about practicality. It's about proving what humans can pull off when they want to be legendary. And that's a tip that saves your life as a storyteller. You don't need to invent crazy stories, you just need to find the ones already hiding in plain sight. Add humor, add emotion, and suddenly your facts transform into experiences. When you do that, your audience doesn't just listen, they feel like they were there. And once they feel it, they'll never forget it. So let's recap. Today you saw the BelAZ 75710, the modern king of mining trucks, carrying loads so heavy they make mountains jealous. You met the Nicholas Tractomaz, the world's largest road legal truck, still scaring traffic in our imagination. You heard about the Berliet T100, the vintage giant that refused to fit indoors. And you witnessed the world's longest truck, a road train so long you could play hide and seek in its trailers for hours. We didn't just talk about machines, we talked about stories, how humor, context, and comparisons can turn raw data into jaw-dropping moments. Because the truth is, the most powerful stories aren't just told, they're felt. And when you feel a story, it stays with you. So next time you want to grab attention, whether it's in a video, a speech, or even a casual conversation, remember the trucks. Think big, use humor, make your story too big to ignore. And if you enjoyed this ride into the world of giants, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and drop your favorite truck fact in the comments.